So let's take a look at basic HTML formatting. Now, in previous videos, I explained that HTML does not have formatting. That means when you write HTML code, normally you cannot just write HTML code and expect any form of beautiful formatting on the screen. You have to tell HTML exactly what you want it to do and how you want things to be displayed for HTML to display those things. Now in this video, we are going to look at basic formatting. How do you do basic formatting on your HTML document? Now the first thing you want to do is you want to create a new page just for the purpose of this tutorial. Now as time goes on, you do everything in any way you want once you get a grasp of how things work. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to create a new page. So I'm going to open up a new notepad file. We're working with notepad right now for now. So I'm just going to go to file and I'm going to save a new page. And I'm going to go into my HTML folder that I created earlier. That's what I'm going to use for this tutorial series. Now, in order for you to see all your documents, you just go to all files and then you can see the first document we created, the index.html file that we created. For now, I'm going to create another file and I'm going to say formatting. Just do that .html and I'm going to save that. Now, once I save that, I can start working on my HTML document. And the rules are simple. You do your doc type declaration. That's doc type. I'm just going to do doc type. And I'm writing an HTML document. So I'm just going to do HTML and I'm going to close that. The next thing I want to do is I want to do my HTML open and my HTML close to tell the document I am writing an HTML document. Then I want to do my body tag. For now, I'm going to leave out the head tag, but of course you can do head and do something like title in your head tag like that. So you do title and then you do basic HTML formatting so that we know what we are working on. So I'm just going to do basic HTML formatting and I'm going to close out my title tag. Now you need to practice this thing as you work on it. Just make sure that you are practicing and you find out that it's very easy to do or to get a grasp of HTML. Now after my head tag, I want to do my body tag and I want to do body and I want to close out my body tag. And then inside my body, I want to begin formatting. So let me just write out a few things and let me take it up from there. So I'm just going to do this text is bold. Let me just do this is a bold sentence. And let me say this is italic. And let me say something like this is a subscript. This is a superscript. Okay. So let's look at how we can do this. Now, for us to do this, first thing you want to do is you want to save. And then once you save this file, of course, you want to open up that file in your browser in order for you to see what you are doing. So I'm just going to drag this all the way to my browser and I'm just going to open it up in my browser so that I can see it. And then here we go. So you have this in the browser. So you have everything written here showing up in the browser right here. And then you have the title, which is basic HTML formatting, showing up in the title here. And then you have all these coming up here. So you have this is a bold sentence, this is italic, this is superscript, this is subscript, and all of that showing there. Now notice that although these are broken into different lines in the code, you have this is a bold sentence, and then you have a new line, this is italic, you have a new line, this is a subscript, you have a new line, this is a superscript. When you look into the browser where the HTML is displayed, you find everything on a single line. It's on a single line because HTML, as stated earlier, does not understand formatting. So you need to tell HTML how you want this to look in order for you to get any visible results. And that's the next thing you now do. That's why we're here. We're doing basic formatting. So the first thing we want to do is we want to break each of these into its own line. And in order to do that, we are going to go to that point where we want the break to occur. And we are going to apply the break tag. Now remember, the break tag does not enclose any content. There's no content around it. It just breaks, and so because of that, it does not have a closing tag. It's just a break tag. And once I save that and I refresh, you can now see I have broken into another line. And then I go and I do a break tag again. I do file and I save and I refresh, and then I have another line. And then I break again and I do file, save, and I refresh, and then I have another line. So that's that. We formatted that into new lines. The next thing I want to do is I want to make this sentence bold. This is a bold sentence. So in order to do that, I just need to apply the bold tag, and that goes bold. And then the bold tag is going to enclose all of this line. In order for it to enclose all of this line, it means I have to start the bold tag and I have to end the bold tag like that. And once I do that and I save, you would see that I now have a sentence that is bold. Of course, if we want to go by what we did earlier, I could, for instance, decide to add an H1 to this tag. That would give me a heading tag, and then I want to close that H1 tag right here. And if I save, then you would notice that I now have a bold big sentence. Now this brings me to something which you need to pay attention to here, and this talks about nesting of tags. Now each time you are applying more than one tag on a single line or a single content, for instance, we have this is a bold sentence, and we have now applied two tags. We applied the bold tag and we applied the H1 tag on this same content. Now each time you do this, you want to make sure that whatever tag you write last is the tag that you close first. So you have the bold tag outside of the H1 tag, and then by the time you are closing, you want to make sure that you close the H1 tag first, which makes the H1 tag applied first. Then you want to now close the bold tag. Now let's see how the italic tag works, and let's make this to be italicized. So we can go italics, just like we have bold is B, italics will go I, and that is italics, and then we close it out where we want that tag to end. And then you begin to understand what the whole concept of closing a tag actually means. So if we were to forget to close this italic tag and I just did a save right here and I refresh, you would notice that everything is italicized. And then whatever I write next, will these also be italics? Whatever I write next also gets italicized all down the page. Why? Because I have not saved. You can see anything that comes into this page will continue to have the effect of this tag for italicizing things. So what you want to do is you want to go to the place where you want the effect of that tag to end, and you want to do a / just like that, and you want to end that tag. So now if I do a save and I refresh, you would see only this line is now italicized, and then we can go ahead to apply a H2 tag, that's a heading tag, and then we close out. Of course, let's demonstrate again. If you don't close the heading tag, then it gets applied on everything. So we can go ahead and close the heading tag right there, and when we save, we have that this is italic. And then we can go ahead and apply a number of elements just to format our page. For instance, we can do a subscript, we can do a superscript, and all of that. So if we were to do a subscript, then we'll do something like sub. And when we do something like sub, let's just stop that right here. Okay, let's apply that here so that it's visible. This is a sub, and then you end and you have sub. And then when you file and save and you refresh, you have a subscript. Let's make that big so that it is clear. So I'm going to apply H1 tag here, and then I'm going to end the H1 tag before the break. So you just have to follow all these things step by step. There's nothing difficult about HTML. It is really very simple and very straightforward. You just need to practice it. So I'm going to save and I'm going to refresh, and there you see a subscript in action. So I have now, this is a subscript. Let's now repeat that for a superscript and let's see. So I'm going to apply my H1 so that it's bold. I'm going to end my H1 where I want that to stop, and then I'm going to apply the superscript right there. So superscript, and then I'm going to end that tag right there, and I'm going to do file, I'm going to save, and when I save, you see I have a subscript, I have a superscript, I have italics, I have a bold sentence. Now, this is basic HTML formatting, and the moment you begin to understand all these things, you kind of begin to get a feel of how HTML works. So let's do a recap. In this video, we have covered the fact that you can format your HTML document, and we looked at basic HTML formatting like bold, like italics, like superscript and subscript. And then we made it clear that anytime you are doing more than one tag, applying more than one tag on anything, you want to make sure that the tag you write last is that tag that you close first. So for instance, where we have this is a bold sentence, the first tag that we wrote is the bold, and then the second tag is the heading, which is the H1, and then the first tag that we close is that one that we wrote last, which is the H1, is being closed first, and then we have the bold being closed next, and then we do a save. So generally, no matter how you format your document, for instance, I can do this is a bold sentence, it will not really be formatted like that until you add formatting to it yourself. So if I do a save here, you should still expect this to be on a straight line. But then if I start to apply things like a break here, and then I apply another break here, for instance, then I would get exactly what I have. So HTML does not really understand formatting. You have to tell HTML what you want it to do. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.